Doing a little bit of showing off of my system here, which is an old vintage Pioneer system as the core. It's a system I bought as a young teenager living overseas on a military base in Germany. We didn't have TV back then, so the only entertainment options we had really was audio. So we had the advantage of being able to buy tax-free equipment over there. So it was relatively inexpensive. We had the means, worked summer jobs and part-time jobs over the course of about a year and a half to buy what you see here in front. The only thing that's missing is the original turntable that I had, which was a Fisher, which I have ordered actually, and it's on the way. It's an MT6225, only available to the PX system over there, that particular version. And Pioneer CTF 1000, which was the top of the line tape deck at the time, but I haven't subsequently rebought it like I have all this other gear here, simply because I don't do tapes anymore. So the system is centered on a Pioneer SA 9500 Series 2 integrated amplifier, which was the top of the line back in the day, circa 1978. Bought most of what you see here over the course of about a year and a half as a young man, and then sold it about 10 years later and always regretted it. So went on a mission after I retired from the military and got it all back. So the integrated amplifier is the heart of the system, as I mentioned, and above that is the Pioneer TX 8500 Series 2 tuner, and above that is a digital timer that was popular back in the day. And I used it quite a bit, and I still do. So it has a clock in it. You can actually automatically shut your system off or turn it on at a certain time of the day. Very handy if you tend to fall asleep by your stereo like I used to. Off to the left you see a TV box. So I got a cable box system that plugs into the system so I can watch my TV or my TV and or Netflix, etc. through the large screen TV that you see above the system. So I've got a SG9800 graphic equalizer, which was sort of the last equalizer in the Silver series. Below that is a more modern SACD CD player. Actually, I just got it last year. Only available in Japan. As you know, for anybody that's a fan of Pioneer Silver series, they didn't actually make a silver CD player. That was they had one in the mid 80s that was a pile of garbage that they sort of pawned off as a silver CD player, but it wasn't truly one. Over in Japan they actually came out with a series that was silver, and so I bought the Japanese version, which requires a power transformer because their voltage is different. It's 100 volts vice 120. So great sounding unit, and of course it does match the gear. To the left of that I have a DACMagic Pro with a Bluetooth receiver on top, so I can plug, my daughter can plug her music through the sound system, and she can listen to her more modern music, because Daddy's isn't good enough. And off to the right of the integrated amp I have a Thorens TD165 turntable that I basically hopped up and put a new plinth on it. I got my neighbor to build a really solid heavy-duty plinth out of solid black maple. Really great suspension system, and then tuned up to the nines. I used to live just down the road actually from the Thorens factory. Oops, slipped out of my hand. From the Thorens factory when I lived in Lahr, so I lived in two places over in Germany. And of course the sound system is centered on my speakers, which are the Pioneer HPM 100s, famously designed by Bart Locanthe, who designed the JBL L100s, probably the highest selling speaker of the 1970s, and the subsequent studio monitor versions of those, like the 4310s, 4311, 4312 series. These are far better. When he left JBL, he left in a tizzy and went to Pioneer and actually designed a far better speaker, in my opinion. Some people's opinion may differ, but I've actually had both sets of speakers, and these ones are far more listenable than the L100s that I used to have. So off to the right here, you see down below, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over the selector switch, and we're going to play. I have a Intel quad-core Pentium or i7 based processor, high-speed computer system that's tapped into the DAC that I mentioned earlier, and then plugs into the TV as well, into one of the video inputs. So there I can do music videos, FLAC, and lossless type music, and really sounds good. So what I'll do is I'll put a little segment on here, and then you have you can go full screen with the videos. We'll do a little bit of a sound check here. The limiting factor is the microphone on the recording device here, but you can get a feel for the punch and the absolute beautiful sound this thing puts out. So likewise when I do movies, high definition movies off of the system, or I go to Netflix, or you got the TV cable box above the equalizer. It's a full-fledged media system basically, and I'd stack it up against any 5.1, 7.1 system that's out there. It sounds that good. So anyway, I'm very happy with my system. If you have any questions, please drop me a line, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thanks for watching.